material. Oh, good. I wouldn't want to get confused. If this card is special summoned, or if an aqua monster is sent to your graveyard, that is just free, by card effect while this card is on the field, you can target one card your opponent controls and shuffle it into the deck. Okay. If this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can special summon this card, and if you do, send one Tier Laments card from your deck to the graveyard. Also free. You can only use each effect of this once per turn. You can only use each effect once per turn. Okay, so you can use an effect twice. They just have to be each effect.
Correct.
Not the hard once a turn. Okay.
It's still hard once per turn in the sense that you can't use multiple Kaleido cards. But you can use both of the effects on the card.
Alright, let's look at that again. So you fusion summon the pieces of this, which is basically whatever you want, however you want. And then you get this thing. It says if this card is special summoned. So when you first special summon it, this happens.
Yep, that's when you first fusion summon it.
Gets shuffled in the deck. And then after that, on future turns, if an aqua monster is sent to your graveyard by card effect while it's on the field. So on your turn, you bring this out, hit their thing. Then on their turn, if you find a way to trigger it, you hit another thing.
With the second effect as well, yes.
Oh, okay. I'll look at the second effect again in a minute. If this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can special summon this. Okay, and then if this is special summoned,
you can do it again.
Do the thing.
Correct.
So every turn, on your turn and theirs, you are just sending something back in their deck over and over again.
Yeah, cool card.
Like, how would you get around this? If this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, what about battle? It doesn't say
battle would not trigger the second effect. Correct.
But how are you gonna battle it when everything's dead? You don't have anything. You have nothing. You lose. Good day, sir. Okay. Again, let's look. You can special summon this card. If you do, send one of these cards from your deck to the graveyard. I mean, isn't that just upside? That's just look through your deck and grab another enabler or something that you want in the graveyard for some reason and put it there. What kind of a cost is that? That's not a cost.
Everything's free.
And it just things just keep shuffling back in. So this never, ever stops being able to do that. It seems like if this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect. So you have to battle it or banish it.
Correct. Yeah. So you either have to battle it or find a way to remove it from the field that is not sending it to the graveyard by card
tribute
effect.
It? If you find a way to tribute
you could
stuff?
tribute over it. Yes, that is a way.
I don't know if this even helps. What I've already seen is they're just going to bring it back, right?
Yeah.
Like, wow, you did it. You snuck it into the graveyard, and they're like, oh, well, voila, I'm just going to, where'd that band card go? Just bring it right back. They did ban that, but still, like, dude, how do you ever do anything with this? Okay, and they banned, like, Rhino Heart is legal at 3.
Yes. So to
remind you, tell me about this.
The waifus are all limited. Rhino Heart's at 3, and Kit Kalos is banned.
Dude, I don't know if Rhino Heart could be allowed at 3 if this was still 9. Because it assembles this. He gets this himself. There's no hero's journey. He does it all. He just builds this himself, right? Do I have to go back and read it? Can you save me some reading and just tell me, does Rhino Heart plus almost anything mean you get this if you want it?
Yeah, so the only thing you're missing is that Kaleido Heart needs 2 aquas, so Rhino Heart can send 1, so you need to have 1 more aqua monster somewhere in order to get this guy out. So that's the only thing. Graveyard, field, hand, yeah.
Or field.
Correct, yes.
Tough ass.
Yes, tough ass.
Drive a hard bargain.
Yes.
So what that means is if you have a Rhino Heart and any other aqua monster, you have this, and if they get rid of it, you have it again. And you're removing stuff at all times. So this is the Yu-Gi-Oh! 2 problem. Do we have to have something this strong just to have a game? do we have to have something oppressive that interacts and messes with everything they do on every turn just to actually make us make decisions at all? Or else somebody would just win. That's the only thing I can think of that is like, this is okay. But some of the other Yu-Gi-Oh! 2 monsters you've shown me have given me that vibe. Like, they really have. This is in the extra deck, right? Restricting this doesn't fix anything. Not really. So did they ban it? I feel like restricted and not restricted are the same with this.
Okay.
So I think it's kind of a trap to have restricted in there. So I'm just going to assume they didn't use that unless there's something else I'm missing. Like, obviously, they could just fusion summon another one if there are multiples. But it feels to me like restricting and unrestricting are similar. It's still an endless problem either way. So it's like banned or not banned. And the only thing I can say for not banned is that this is what it takes to have a game where everything is free so that we have any decisions at all to make. And the fact that it does send it back into the deck is not the same as banishing it because, yeah, if the values that we place on this Yu-Gi-Oh! Environment, God, I use that term loosely, values. If the values we place in this environment are that we each get to keep doing our thing, that's definitely what's enabled in the archetypes. And sending it back into the deck just means, okay, I guess I have to go through the process of the summon again. And maybe they just think that this summoning is like really, really, really great jerk-off sessions that just people just want to keep on summoning, man. As long as they get more summoning. Ooh, ha, yeah, that's the stuff. So I don't know. That's the only way I can see this not being banned. So if this isn't banned, then I have learned what the quote-unquote values of Yu-Gi-Oh! Players are. You guys just want to keep going back and forth, jerking each other up. You can clip that. I'm going to say this got banned.
I don't.
Yes.
This is illegal at 3.
Knew it. Knew it. I figured it out. I know everything I need to know about your game. Everything I need to know. We're done.
So this might shock you, or not, honestly. People would only typically play one copy of this anyway. The reason is it is recyclable, so you don't really have to play more than one. And usually, for the most part, one is enough. Like, it's not the second Kaleido Heart that gets you. Like, one is just fine. There are only 15 slots in the extra deck, so like obviously people have to be mindful of other cards they put there. But one is enough. It's typically all you need. Honestly, some games you might not even summon Kaleido Heart. If you could believe that, you'll still win the game. This card is just, it's insane. It's broken, but yeah, it's fine. It's okay.
I hate it. I hate it, but I do understand it.
You're learning.
I really do.
You're learning.
And I hate what I've discovered. I hate it so much.
You're going to hate this then. Let's keep going.
Primeval Planet Perlerino?
Perlerino, but yeah.
Primeval Planet Perlerino. Another layered cake. It's 5D chess. It's another opportunity for us to jerk each other off. When this card is activated, you can add one Tier Elements monster or one Visa Starfrost from your deck to your hand.
You can ignore that
Visa
part.
Starfrost.
Nobody plays Visas.
Okay. Yeah, just you can ignore it.
Sure. Fusion monsters and Tier Elements monsters you control gain 500 attack. If a Tier Elements monster you control or in your graveyard is shuffled into the deck or extra deck, except during damage step, you can target one card on the field and destroy it. You can only use the effect once per turn. You can only activate this once per turn. The balancing mechanism. It's... How dare they make you shuffle something back into your deck? Wait, hold on. Hold on.
You might be putting it together.
If a monster you control or in your graveyard is shuffled into your deck, there were all those enablers shuffled stuff back into your deck. They put it on the bottom though, right? Does that count as shuffling in?
Yeah, that counts.
Oh, it does. So just doing your thing destroys something. Once per turn. But yeah, you get a free like removal-y thing after you play this and activate it to go tutor for whichever Tier Elements thing you want.
Correct. And
a piece of the fusion summon, an enabler, whatever you want.
To remind you, this is a field spell. You can tell by the like star crest shaped symbol. So this is kind of like an enchantment. It just stays out until another card interacts with it.
So it's an enchantment that comes out, yep, for free. and it tutors you the enabler or payoff, whatever you need, whatever you want. Okay. And then they gain 500 attack. Have we talked about attacking at all? No. I just assume you'll win eventually when you're done with each other. You know what I mean. And if a monster you control or in your graveyard is shuffled into, I mean, I assume there's other ways, like when you're playing the mirror and that guy shuffles some monster away, you get this effect.
Correct.
Like, you don't have to you can activate it yourself. They activate it.
Correct.
Cool. Just something dies all the time. So this is the interaction suite that the world is looking for. Oh my God. These cards, there isn't something exactly like this. This is busted in as hell. This is so extreme. There aren't. So when I compare this, there's nothing exactly like it. But in in Magic, effects like this, that you do a thing and something gets blown up, they exist, but they're highly frowned upon. People hate them, but they exist, and they don't get banned even in Commander.
Okay.
Which is kind of weird. Dude, what did they have to do with this? The tutoring part, if we start right at the top, this is the most busted deck of all time. They wanted to nerf it. They had to restrict this, right? Because what's the point in restricting all the cards that have been restricted, all the enablers, if you're going to have this legal at 3? There's no way, right? They've got to restrict it. So did anything put this over the top to ban it? If you tell me this is like legal at 3, I guess the thing about this that's different is if you mill this, there isn't the payoff, right?
Correct. I think this is the first card I've shown you that does nothing in the graveyard.
When they come out with the ban announcement and they're like, we're restricting this, we're banning that thing that tutors everything, but we're going to let you have this that just goes and fetches those elements, and then you have a hand that contains one of your waifus and one of these, and you just go fetch the other waifu and away you go anyway. It's just like, oh, great, I had to devote less of my deck to the enablers, and I can just rock the payoffs just as hard. I don't know. It seems bad, man. It seems like you'd have to restrict this. Maybe I'm underestimating the value of the mill, because that was kind of the element that tied everything together to this is definitely going to happen. There's no way that the odds, like, it takes astronomically bad odds for this to happen. This card, when milled, doesn't do anything. Other cards, when milled, are still useful. That might be my blind spot, but I think you had to restrict this. The combo element and the removal element, I think we learned from our last friend, the card I just looked at, Kaleidoscope. I think that this is both a sidekick to that, but also a counter to that, so I can... Like, it's kind of weird how they tied all this together. But I think that very first line got this restricted. I think that they wanted to reduce the consistency of the deck. And if you leave this legal at 3, again, if I'm wrong, it's probably the graveyard thing. But let's say restricted.
It's cards at 3. It's unlimited.
Okay.
At 3.
Okay. Is it the graveyard thing that makes it fine?
So I will say this is the other one where the Asian territories have it different. This is limited over there. So I think your logic is still sound, especially because if you're going to hit all the other cards, like, why would you not also hit the card that's going to fetch those cards? But
apparently,
I will say, this might be something you're lacking the information. The effect, especially on a field spell where it says you can add a whatever monster from your deck to your hand, that is a very common effect in Yu-Gi-Oh! 2. So that's not, like, the craziest thing. It's really just everything together on this card, to be honest. Like, it is consistency. I think, honestly, this was, like, one of the most expensive cards in the deck because of the rarity they printed it at. So kind of, like, money reasons was one of the reasons I feel like they didn't hit this, but obviously we don't know because we don't have explanations.
That's kind of gross.
But... it really just does a lot. The fact that it also just pops stuff anytime you do fusion summons, like, you can use this if you have this active. If you, for instance, let's say your opponent activates a monster effect and you have Havness in your hand, so you're able to play Havness, mill 3 cards. You mill one of the fusion monsters to fusion summon. You can fusion summon Kaleido Heart, and then because you put stuff on the bottom, the planet's going to pop one of your opponent's things, and then Kaleido Heart's going to shuffle one of their things back as well. Just, you have all this interaction for your opponent's turn. It's just insane. This card is so extremely powerful. I cannot begin to describe it.
It's fine. No, it's fine.
And it's fine, apparently. Yeah, it's fine, apparently.
No, but seriously, like, is that kind of exploitive? Like, the expensive tutor card, you can have one of each
Oh, yeah, I
of
could
these
just
enablers,
flip
but you
it
have to buy 3
back
of
up.
the expensive
Wow.
tutor card to have the consistency.
That was
You
useful.
know,
That's really dirty.
welcome to Konami's business practices, my friend. I don't know what to tell
That
you.
feels really like, I don't know. I'm a Magic player. That feels extra dirty.
Let's move on. I have no answer for you. I have no answer for
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
Okay.
We don't have to talk
So-
about that. It's fine.
So that was the first wave of support. Okay. So now we move on to the second. The second wave is smaller. It's only 2 cards here. So here you go.
Tier Laments, Roll Kalos.
Close enough.
So cute. Level 8? That probably doesn't matter. Attack, big numbers. Okay. The pieces are this plus any Tier Laments monster. Free. It's just free. Other Aqua monsters you control cannot be destroyed by battle. Wait a minute. Weren't there... Oh my god. There were already like things that like the only way to destroy it profitably was by battle.
Well, to be fair, Kaleido Heart is not an Aqua. He's a Fiend, so he wouldn't be affected
Oh,
by
okay,
this.
okay. Well, that's nice. There were other things. There was something else that went sent to the graveyard except by battle.
Well, all of them say they have to go to grave by card effect, so yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So this protects
just
them.
make sure you get that.
Correct.
Yeah. Wouldn't want to not be able
Of
to.
course
keep
not.
doing the thing.
Why not? Yeah.
Oh my god.
Exactly.
You can only use each of the following effects once per turn. When your opponent activates a card or effect that includes an effect that special summons a monster, you can negate the activation if you do destroy it. And then send 1 Tier Laments card from your hand or face a field to the graveyard. All right, so you're turning your little enabler pieces, either in hand or on the field, into counter spells. If this fusion summoned card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can special summon this card. If this fusion summoned card, so you fusion summon this, which you have to, so that's kind of weird. Oh, I see.
So you can't do
then
it a
when you
second
special
time.
summon it, it doesn't go infinite.
Correct.
Okay.
It's not considered fusion summon when it's special
Oh,
summon
fuck.
first time.
All right,
That's
correct.
the
So you get
best
to bring it
draw.
back a second time.
Yeah, it gets 1 free reroll.
Yes.
But there was the card that, like, you destroy your own card to get a thing, and then this would just come back.
Yeah, weird.
Why
Huh?
does every-
Interesting.
What?
Interesting.
Why does the engine have to be pricelessly free and just keep going? Why does everything have to do this? Oh, okay. Where's the broken part? Everything, like the whole. I can see how it's the nastiest deck of all time. The whole engine comes together. to be broken.
Oh, we haven't even gotten to the best part yet.
I believe you. But like when I'm trying to figure out the individual pieces, which I'm doing horrible at since the first one, when I'm trying to figure out the individual pieces, it's like where's the part that makes it more broken than the other? And you have 3 tutors that can get this whenever it wants. Okay, the other Aqua monster is not being destroyed by battle seems like it's basically countering one of the only things you could try to do, which is some kind of battlefield relevant interaction. Can't have that. Shut that down. Thank you. Good job trying to play Hearthstone, kid, but this is not Hearthstone. You can only use each of the following effects once. When your opponent activates a card, dude, you can just counter it over and over. So this is, again, the part where it's like, I could try to evaluate, oh, people aren't going to like that. People don't want their cards countered. But I feel like now we're just here where every monster has to also interact with opposing monsters and do something just so we can play the game. Just so we can say we played a game. And this is another one where it's like, there's still a game to be played. It's not like there's no game. It's like, okay, they have this. I'm going to do this. You gonna counter it? Okay, then I'm gonna do this. And it's like you try to layer it. Was the first thing the thing that they wanted countered or the second thing, right? So as long as we're playing endless stuff and everything ties into more stuff so that we get to do more stuff, it's about picking the right point of interaction or just having an overwhelming amount of interaction that goes uninteracted with. God, am I gonna say this card is fine?
Have you learned from your ways, CGP?
I think with this one, I could see, based on other things I've seen, that this may not need to be banned. I can see, looking at this card, that if the play pattern were, let's call it restrictive, If people did not enjoy the play pattern and it were a problem in the meta, that restricting it would solve a lot of that issue. However, given some of the things I've seen, it's really tempting to say this is fine. I'm going to read it one more time and look for like something I missed. When your opponent activates a card effect, okay, opponent has to activate it. That includes the effect of special summons a monster. You can negate the activation. If you do, you destroy the thing, and then you also have to give up a Tearlaments card in your hand or face-up field. And you can only do that once each turn. And if this dies, you just get it back because that's fine. Once. You get one reroll. I mean, it's a hoop to jump through. And I'm just learning that these turns are all about lots of jumping and hoops wherever you can get them. I guess we'll find out if there's something else I missed. Comparing this to the other cards, I guess this can be fine.
Correct, CGB.
Okay.
This card is unlimited. This is similar to Kaleido Heart, where people would typically only play one of it anyway. You would play it, and honestly, one was enough because it's kind of really all you needed. You didn't need multiple copies of it, and you can recycle it, so it's not like you were always without it anyway. But
yeah, just keeps coming back.
Yep, one is fine.
My God.
Fine.
My God.
Let's keep going.
Can't believe this.
We're nearing the end.
Okay.
Let's keep going.
Okay, I haven't even seen the good part, huh? Oh, look at this. Look at this. Oh my God. Are those abs on abs? Like, what is going on?
Oh yeah,
here?
true anime flavor. Abs on abs.
Tearlaments Scream. This is a spell. Continuous spell card.
Yes.
Yes?
Yep.
Okay. If a monster is normal or special summoned and you control a Tearlaments monster, free, or visas, not relevant, you can send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Wait a minute. If a monster is normal or special summoned, but not fusion summoned?
A fusion summon is considered a special summon.
Ah, okay, of course. Special summoning, not special. Noted. If a monster is normal or special fusion whatever summoned, and you control a Tearlaments monster, you can send the top 3 cards of your deck to the graveyard. Also, for the rest of this turn, all monsters your opponent controls lose 500 attack. If this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can add a Tearlaments trap from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. A trap, huh? Mm-hmm. They play some traps. They give you the traps to put in this deck, too.
They do. Mm-hmm.
They needed it spelled out for you. They really wanted these packs to sell. All right. Monsters losing 500 attack for the rest of this turn. That basically what that does right there is enables that we can just keep on going back and forth.
Casino keeps paying out, baby.
Just keep playing with each other. Let's go. We're just having a game. All right. You can send the top 3 cards from deck to graveyard. Seems good. So you just put this down. Okay, it says you can only use each effect of this once per turn. So you can only get 1 mil per turn?
Correct. But you can also get that on your opponent's turn.
Yep. All you got to do is have a Tearlaments monster and normal or special something anything.
You don't have to. It says if a monster is normal or special summon. That counts your opponent.
Doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And a bunch of those things trigger when they go to the graveyard. So it can set off your special summoning thing when your opponent just tries to do something. You could probably mill most of your deck. But then, wait a minute. When you set off the thing, they shuffle back in.
Interesting.
So you don't run out of deck. So on your turn or theirs, if you have this card, you can just go infinite. Well, it activates once a turn, but man, you can pop off. You can do the thing, but then you have another one of these. Okay, but it's a hard once a turn.
It is hard once, correct. Yes.
So the part I'm also missing is the trap.
I will show you that next. You know what? I'll show you now. How about that? We'll help you evaluate here. We'll help you.
Okay.
We'll give you the full scope.
Okay, let's just do it. Why not? He's feeling charitable. He knows how freaking destroyed I am right now.
Yep. Oh, it's only going to get worse.
Tearlaments
Soliak. Yeah.
I mean, that is a really funny art. That is an art of all the arts. If you control a Tearlaments monster, or doesn't matter, nobody cares about visas, you can target one effect monster your opponent controls, negate its effects, then send the one monster you control to the graveyard. If this card is sent to the graveyard by card effect, you can add a Tearlaments monster from your deck to hand. You You can only use this once a turn. Okay, it's a tutor. So you can get rid of your enabler pieces again, destroy the opponent's thing, and tutor up more of this thing for yourself to make sure that you get to keep doing. Oh, Jesus Christ.
You sound like a defeated man.
I just picture... I keep thinking of one deck in Magic over and over and over.
What's that?
It's one I will... Well, I'm not telling you because it's probably going to be the opposite of this video.
Okay.
But I keep thinking about how that deck just built itself and you just went and looked at the card file and were like, oh, this plus this plus this plus this. It was like just 4 of everything. And I'm picturing like... These cards were revealed. I picture day 1 of building the deck. It just tells you exactly what to put in it to build the most busted combo deck of all time. It's just right there on all the cards. Exactly what to play. Exactly what to do. That's so... It makes you wonder, how did this happen? How could this happen? I just don't know. All right. I'm supposed to figure out if the trap or the spell got restricted. Did it need to be restricted? I mean, the trap is just a tutor that's also interactive. I mean, and is that... Back in the day, I would have looked at these things as play patterns, redundancy. Do we want our games to look like this? These take the spots of other cards. Don't we want our customer base to spend money and create a more interesting kind of game experience over time? Do we want these cards to take up so much space in our deck for the entirety of the time that they are legal? And I would try to evaluate things from that perspective. In this world, I don't know if it matters. I get the impression that they built this deck, unless they are high as hell, and when they need money again, they're just not going to make cards that go in it ever again. They built a self-contained thing. They sold it like a total package. They tried to nerf it down to a level where it can play and other decks aren't completely helpless. And now they're just not going to print any tier limits cards for it ever again until they need money.
Yep,
that's my prediction.
Sounds about right.
In that case, how does that factor into this card and the restrictions we've already seen? I feel like the milling and the redundancy created by hitting those cards is just exemplified and just gets worse with this. I think it does basically add to that casino element. So I do feel like the Scream might get restricted. The Trap, that's the interactive piece. And even though it has a tutor attached to it, the Trap might not get restricted.
Okay, final answers?
I'm going to say... And I'll be stupid. At this point, I think I figured out where the deck is going, and however they decided to deal with it, they did what they did. The game, I feel like I understand the deck, and I feel like the answers was just like a choose your own adventure. Connect the dots however you want. They should probably just rewrite the whole ban and restricted archetype and see if something different works, and just change everything restricted or banned about the deck and just see what happens to it. That's what they should do. Just shuffle the deck, flip over 4 unique cards, restrict those, flip over 2 unique cards, ban those, and see what happens, and just do that every year so that people who want this kind of whatever you want to call it, Yu-Gi-Oh, can keep doing it. Just keep the casino running. But yeah, we'll go with that. I'm going to say the Trap didn't get restricted and the Scream did.
You are almost correct. Both of these are perfectly legal at 3. I really think it's the hard once per turns on these that are really just like the biggest limiting factor here. And they're fine. I mean, you never really want to see like multiple copies of any of these cards. You kind of always just want to see one Scream, and after that, you never want to see another one because multiples doesn't really do anything for you. Soliak kind of is similar, where it's like you want to mill Scream to search Soliak, and then when you have the one Soliak, you're kind of like good. You're like, okay, I have my interactive piece in addition to my field spell that's going to pop something and my Kaleido Heart that can shuffle something back. So you kind of have like, you only want one of these. They're not really, aside from, they enable other combo pieces, but by themselves, they don't do anything. So you kind of just want like your minimum amount of copies possible. So both of these are fine. They were typically, Soliak was played at like 1 to 2. Scream was typically played in 3 because you wanted to see it, but after you saw the first one, you didn't want to see more copies of it. But yeah, these cards are some of the more lesser, they're still very powerful, but in terms of banned or restricted, they are the lesser powerful ones. We're in the home stretch, CGB. The final wave of support. The final wave of support for Yu-Gi-Oh's strongest deck of all time.
The final wave, but not the final card. So this is like the tuturables. These are the big bads they go and get, huh? Kelbeck, the Ancient Vanguard, level 4. Earth, 1500, 1800 Fairy. If a card is sent from the hand or deck to your opponent's graveyard, except during the damage step, you can target one special summon monster your opponent controls, special summon this card from your hand, then return that monster to the hand. If this card is sent from the hand or deck to the graveyard, you can activate this effect. Each player sends the top 5 cards of their deck to the graveyard or their entire deck if less than 5. Then, if Exchange of the Spirit is in your graveyard, you can set one trap from your graveyard.
For the purposes of this, you can ignore that last sentence.
And you can only use this once per turn. I don't know. This is so much things. If a card is sent from hand or deck to your opponent's graveyard, if a card, is sent from their hand or deck to their graveyard, I mean, that's free. That's so free. Oh my God. You can target one special summon monster your opponent controls and special summon okay. You choose a monster they control. This enters. Return that monster. That goes back to their hand. If this card is sent from the hand or deck, okay, this is a new ability.
New ability.
If this card is sent from the hand or deck to the graveyard, you discard it, you search it, but put it in the graveyard, you mill it. Goes to the graveyard that way.
Oh fuck, I picked the wrong deck.
Activate this effect. Each player mills 5, and then if this is in your graveyard, you set the trap. But you don't worry about the trap.
You can ignore that part. Yeah, just each player mills 5.
So
just stop there.
all it is like
Yep,
you can fetch this. If this gets discarded or fetched from your deck, each player mills 5. But only once a turn. It's interaction. Returning the monster to the hand, is kind of a tempo thing, but if they play it again, if they assemble the materials again or are able to do it again, they're just cooking again, right?
If they can. For context, if a monster is special summoned from the extra deck, so a fusion monster, for instance, that would go back to the extra deck.
Okay, so it wouldn't go to the hand.
Right. Mechanically, that's just how it functions, yeah.
That's how it, okay. So yeah, I guess it forces another fusion summoning. So basically, it is very free, it sounds like. It's free and it's like a bounce. It's a setback, and then they have to try to go again. It's interaction. I'm not sure about, the milling thing is gas, but it's gas for both. That's interesting. It seems like that could bite you. All the parts of this could bite you. Okay, I'm looking at this. I guess you get a monster out of it. You have something on the field that can attack and defend you. So as far as having battlefield position and making sure that you can try to push through and end the game, or that you get another turn when you're the one under pressure, yeah, this is interaction. This is like a remand in Magic. You bounce the thing and you get something for it. It's better than that, but it's Yu-Gi-Oh, so everything has to be because it's free. I was expecting something a lot more hey, I win the game now. And this is another one of those things that is, we get to play the game now. We keep playing the game. We keep doing the dance. And then we both have 3 of these in our deck, so the dance just keeps going. We both just keep spinning the wheels. We get set back and we go again, and we get set back and we go again. The only a card like this has been banned in Magic, Divide by 0. It was just 3 mana, put the thing back in the hand and get a value piece for it. And that was too good for standard, but that was not, it wasn't a low-powered standard, but it was, in the history of standard, it was slightly high power, which in the history of Magic, vintage, eternal format, Yu-Gi-Oh, is not even close, not even in the ballpark. And people thought it was a controversial ban then. They didn't think it was that good. I think this is just part of playing the game. I don't know. Maybe this is my control mage stepping in, but this just makes us play the game more. This just makes you work for it. If the play pattern was too toxic and obnoxious and they restricted this, then I am just I'm so oh my God, come on, you guys. Look at all the things you're promoting, and a few hoops to jump through are going to ruin you. There might be some other interaction with this I'm missing, but this seems fine. I'm going to say this is fine.
What about if I show you this card?
Oh, God.
And this is your last one.
Agido, the Ancient Sentinel. Okay, level 4. I love how they're just level 4s. It's great. 1500, 1300, and if a card is sent from the hand or deck to your opponent's graveyard, except during damage, you can special summon this. Again, free. And you can special summon one level 4 Earth Fairy monster from your graveyard, except, so you just do that 3 more times. Okay. If this card is sent from your hand or deck to the graveyard, you can activate this effect. Each player sends the top 5. Okay. A lot of similar text here. So the graveyard never stops getting juiced, and you just always have these 2 cards. In the 3 and 3, these are just omnipresent, is what I'm getting. They're always free, they're omnipresent, and they keep coming back.
Yep.
I don't think I need to read the rest. Am I missing anything else? I don't think so.
No, yeah, the rest is you can ignore. Yep.
I was... This is where they drew the line, isn't it?
Okay.
This is where it just never ended. This is where it was just, the whole game was about this card, the Ancient Vanguard here. It was all about how many Kelbecks you can do and how many Agitos find the Kelbecks.
Okay.
Oh, Jesus. And the fact that they printed both of them, like, does restricting it solve the problem now? Because you have so many ways to tutor, so many ways to fetch, and then one that plays it from the graveyard. One by itself, I could defend.
Okay. Okay.
Both, I don't know if you can have any of them.
Okay.
You could restrict, if you restricted the tutor, it still lets you play it again and again. So they just need to find this, like, you use your 3 Kelbecks to just stall the opponent indefinitely, let them do nothing, keep trying to fusion summon, keep stopping them, keep trying to fusion summon, keep stopping them, just over and over and over and over. And then say that Agito is the one who's restricted, right? Then eventually you find it. You'll tutor it, you'll draw it, you'll mill it, you'll reanimate it, you'll find it, you'll get it, and then you just do this again. Okay, so one of these isn't good enough. Okay, so restrict Kelbeck, allow 3 Agitos, like they're just gonna abuse the same Kelbeck over and over again. Okay, restrict both. You tutor one, and then the other one, and you just keep using it over and over again. Ban one. I don't know what the other Earth things are, but I'm going to assume this is the best thing because it fit in the best deck. The deck with all the redundancy that could do whatever it wanted chose these. So it's got to be the best. Restrict Kelbeck or leave Kelbeck legal, and you get this effect. Ban Agito, and you have interaction without the toxic redundancy. If I were running the Yu-Gi-Oh world, I would encourage interaction, even though it's annoying, and I would ban the thing that makes it so nothing ever happens. However, if we got to a point where this had to happen, and this was the meta, and this was the tier S deck, if they wanted a new player experience and wanted other decks to have a real chance, here's what I would do. Ban Agito, restrict Kelbeck, declare everything solved. Final answer.
Oh, you mentioned wanting interaction with this? Oh, here, I'll give you interaction. You can, why wait for your turn to mill 5? You can do it on your opponent's turn.
Herald of Orange Light, level 2. When your opponent activates a monster effect, you can send this card or one other fairy monster from your hand to the graveyard to negate the activation if you destroy it. Let me read that first line on these again. If a card is sent from your hand or deck to your opponent's graveyard, except during the damage step, you can special summon. Wait, so when you use this, they do that, right? Or you do this and that?
I want to check the middle part of the text. That might be
you can send this card and one other fairy monster from your hand to the graveyard to negate the activation if you do destroy it. So yeah, you discard it from your hand, you negate the activation, you destroy the thing, and then what am I have to remember this does? If this card is sent to the hand or deck from the hand or deck to the graveyard, then mill top 5. So yeah, you just you mill your ass off, and you have these things. So you find the thing that you need. You put the Kelbeck in the graveyard, and then you get it back with the Agito, and just nothing happens. And you're milling just whenever you want. Okay? I don't even know, man. My head is spinning. I'm just picturing I mill, I discard, I bounce your thing, you try to do a thing, I negate that, I destroy it, then I mill, then I hit the thing, and then the next thing you try to do, I'm going to counter that too, and I'm also going to summon something else on top of that. Yeah, this is the endless casino, right? This is the infinite redundancy. This is I mill my deck, and then the deck becomes whatever I'm shuffling back in with the fusion summons. So that's all I end up doing, and I can do this forever. That's what you're showing me.
Yep. Essentially.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. Do I have to say if this was restricted or banned?
Up to you. Up to you. Currently, we're at Kelbeck restricted Agido ban.
What does this change? Does it help? Like, how many of these would you run if my setup? I'm probably wrong with my setup, right? But I've got to proceed with some kind of a theory because now you have me evaluating 3 different things. Like, how does it change the theory? You can send this in one other monster hand to the graveyard, negate it if you do destroy it. What else are all these fairy monsters?
Yes. Well, the last 3 that I've shown you are.
Oh, the last 3 are. The others are the aqua.
Correct.
Fiend. I see a fiend. Yeah. Okay. Oh my God. I feel like I'm supposed to piece it all together, but it's all just a big, ugly, solitaire blur in my mind. That it just screams of like, this wasn't, how could they do this? Why did they do this? So all I can really say now that I've seen this card is that it's even more interaction that rewards you for doing the thing you were going to do anyway, that makes it so the game state doesn't progress. I say Agido got banned, and I stick by that. Did they have to get rid of Kelbeck too based on this? You know what? Maybe they were just like the Mill 5. It's just too much. I still think restricted is fine. I'm going to stick to what I said, even though I'm probably wrong now. I think 1 of this effect is fine, but maybe it's... Yeah, dude, I think 1 is the right number. Exactly 1 in the whole game. I think it's fine. But yeah, I'm going to stick to what I said.
What about the little Herald? Do you think I'm just baiting you with him?
I don't think you're baiting me. I don't like it. But interaction is interaction. I think that with these things restricted and some pieces banned, the interaction side of it might be more of a real cost if discarding a card doesn't just do the thing. Man, maybe they had to restrict this too because the interaction was so good. But I think with the mill effects reduced, I don't think you have to. No, I'm going to say the Herald. Am I going to say that's fine? That's a great card. I love this card. As a control mage, it's like...
Oh, I knew you would love this guy.
It's force of will, you know, in its way. But it has a restriction. It does have to be a fairy monster. If you restrict or ban the fairy... Yeah, if you restrict or ban down the fairy monsters, it loses its value. So I'm going to say it's fine.
So Kelbeck and Agido. For the purposes of for everyone watching this, we are going to skip Mudora and Keldo just because we'd be here for another hour. And I think we can wrap this one up here anyway, because those are good for a different reason. But Kelbeck and Agido are both banned, and it's actually for what you figured out. The Mill 5 was just too good, because if you saw one of these, you were probably going to see the other, which meant both players were going to Mill 10. And as a result, Herald of the Orange Light was also restricted because as soon as your opponent made any play, if they use any monster effect, you can go, okay, Herald, pitch Kelbeck or Agido, and now the milling begins. And you're allowed to start getting all of your stuff set up before it's even your turn to actually play the game. It's like the whole meme of like, it's our turn, not your turn type thing. And so both of these cards have been banned as a result. I think Herald, actually got unbanned recently, like within the past list or two, just because this deck isn't what it was anymore. The ability to just basically play on the opponent's turn and start the mill chain going, this is what we call a tier 0 deck. A deck that has no equal, a deck that if you are not playing this deck, you are 100% going to lose because nothing else can even compete with it. Basically, because of the fact that the millers milled both players, if they weren't playing this exact deck and everything that you've seen, they had no chance because the amount of advantage you were going to accumulate off of Agido and Kelbeck milling, off of Tier Element Scream and Shiren and Merly and Kit Kalos and all of these other crazy cards, your opponent was just never going to be able to overcome the amount of advantage that you're going to generate off of all of these effects triggering. It was absolute madness. I don't know how else to describe it. I told you they had to go through multiple iterations of hitting this deck for it to be reined in so that other decks could compete against it. There was like one other deck that could compete against it in its prime, and that was basically an anti-meta deck designed to beat it that lost to like anything else, essentially. Aside from that, the next set or next several sets basically released like new power creeped archetypes that were basically custom made to like beat this archetype, essentially, because it was a deck that focused a lot on banishing cards, which a lot of this is reliant on the graveyard. So this deck has a very devastating legacy throughout Yu-Gi-Oh's history. A lot of people love this deck just because it was every mill player's dream. It is the mill deck that gives you everything you could ever ask for. And it's a very divisive deck, though, as well, because it's one of those formats where if you're not playing this, you're just going to lose. And it was a time to be playing Yu-Gi-Oh! That's for sure.
The dredge of its time in Magic terms. Well, I can see why you guys might have created a throwback format and why it's gaining popularity.
Yep, that I will say that definitely that format gained a lot of popularity during this time. That is 100% true. People were very disenchanted with playing modern Yu-Gi-Oh, especially when they kept hitting it and it was just it didn't stop. People, even to this day, people will try to make this deck work just because people love playing it, which is hilarious. But
content.
So what do you think? What do you think about Yu-Gi-Oh 2, my friend?
Your pain tolerances are impressive, but I have seen the dark souls that inhabit this world, and it scares me.
So guys, that's going to wrap it up for another video. I really hope you all enjoyed. Let's go ahead and shout the patrons for all of their continued support. So shoutouts to Shoutout1317, Tim00x3, MBT Play Medolce, Moto, Cameron L. Smith, The Synchro Guy, Pony Stark, Dan the Man Hoban, Little Fade Leak, Draconic, Dylan Rare Hunter, Brian Dancer of Class 7, JW11860, Flannel Daddy, literally all of the guinea pigs, Cheeks McLapperty, Stolfin Amethyst, MBT Cancel Bio Community soon, Cancel Bio Committee soon, Cancel Bio Player soon, Wonder Waffle, Daniel Howell, Electrician of the Ice Barrier, Arco, and Astra Random. Thank you all so much again for watching, and we will see you next time.
Oh, whoops. Good afternoon, friends, and happy Saturday. We are here today with another episode of I Refuse to Read, the series where you, my community, vote on which archetype you are going to force me to finally sit down and read for the first time. In today's episode, we have, and I mean no disrespect to the Tindanglers, the first competitively relevant archetype that we've covered in the series thus far, Memento. This archetype of charmingly hideous monsters, bearing at least a passing resemblance to old-school Yu-Gi-Oh! Monsters, has achieved a respectable level of competitive success, including winning a YCS and, more impressively, having a 3-0 match record against me playing Balance. Despite having dueled against this meta threat a few times, I can still confidently say that I have no idea what the deck does. All I know is that when I try and negate their shit, my opponent just tells me that they get to resolve the stuff anyway, and then I lose. You guys forced me to read this, putting the highly respected Goaty fans in a corner for yet another week. And so let's get into it. If you want to participate in these weekly polls, subscribe to the channel and keep an eye on the community post. The poll goes up every Sunday at noon and closes on Tuesday. We'd love to have you. I have a summary from Wikipedia pulled up here that I've linked in the description as well. Man, you guys complained about me for using AI for the archetype descriptions, but let me tell you, at least on Grok, I wasn't getting bombarded by ads. Holy shit. Anyway, it reads, Memento is an archetype of many retrained, previously non-effect monsters. That makes sense. I know that they're supposed to be based on classes. Their playing style revolves mainly around special summoning their high-level monsters quickly for free. Yeah, I can tell you they do that. Which their effects enable if the graveyard has enough other Memento cards in it. Cards and archetypes that can send monsters to the graveyard fast can help in setting the strategy up, like Light Swarm or Zombies. Since most Memento monsters just require to have the monsters in graveyard to summon them, cards like Necro Valley or the End of Anubis can help protect them too. There you have it, nice and human written. The End of Anubis, yeah? Quality stuff, boys, quality stuff. Well, I have all the cards pulled up here on Wikipedia, and let's get into it. Jesus, that's a lot of cards. Okay, there seem to be 18 cards in this archetype. This is the largest that we've done so far, with 10 main deck monsters, 4 spells, 2 traps, and 2 extra deck monsters. Alright, well this is going to take some time, so let's jump right into the main deck monsters with Memento Clon Mace. So I'm not going to do the Memento Clon, I'm just going to call them Memento for the rest of this because that does not roll well off of Memento. Memento Mace is a level 1 Light Fairy effect monster with 400 attack and 300 defense. And the card effect. During your opponent's main phase, if you control Memento... Oh, holy cow. Stop them immediately. If you control Memento Wall... If you control Combined Creation, we're just going to call it Combined Creation. If you control Combined Creation, quick effect, you can discard this card, then target one face-up monster your opponent controls, take control of it until the end phase. Okay, so it's like a quick effect change of heart from the hand. That is super sick, and that's only during the main phase, though. Only during your opponent's main phase, so it's kind of like a crackdown. Oh, and it doesn't negate the effects either. That's really cool. During your main phase, you can destroy one Memento card you control, and if you do, add one Memento card from your deck to the set itself, and you can only use each effect. Wow, this is crazy strong. This is really good. So it's like quick effect, crackdown, change of heart type deals. And it puts it in grave, which my archetype is said that it really wants to do. I believe that the second effect is only when it's on the field, field. So you destroy one memento card, which again puts it in grave, and then you could add one other one from deck to hand. Stupid strong, really cool. I don't know what card this art is based off of, and I'm not going to go look because this video is going to be really long anyway. So if you guys want to tell me in the comments, I would really appreciate that. Moving on, we have another level 1, Memento Goblin. This is a dark level 1 fiend with 400, so that's kind of like a reflection on the first one, right? Okay, yeah, the first one was 400, 300, but it was a light fairy level 1. This is a dark fiend level 1, so it's kind of like the inverse. Has the card effect. During the main phase, if you control Combined Creation, we're just doing that from now on. Quick effect, you can discard this card. For the rest of your turn, your opponent cannot target memento monsters you control with card effects. That's pretty good protection. During your main phase, you can destroy one memento monster you control, and if you do, send up to 2 memento cards with different names from each other from deck to grave, except itself, and then you can only use each one per turn. Wow, okay, that's crazy good. So the targeting protection is like kind of mid, but it puts this thing in grave, which like you need the monsters in grave, apparently. So if nothing else, this helps get it in grave. And then it just foolishes 2. You pop 1 in order to send 2, which puts 3 in grave like right off rip. That's crazy. So just with its field effect alone, you can get 3 monsters in grave. I have a distinct feeling that I'm not going to be as let down by the boss monsters in this episode as I maybe have in the past. Okay, both of the level 1s are pretty impressive. I could for sure see myself summoning them off of 1-for-1. Moving on, we have a level 2. This is Memento Gaddick. Okay, this is the one that I know about because it looks like Karibo, right? I know it's not Karibo because Karibo is not a normal monster, so I'm not sure what this is supposed to be. I'm not stupid, right? That's Karibo. I know what Karibo looks like. Anyway, this is a level 2 Dark Fiend, so this one's a Dark Fiend as well, with 550 and 400. Not a lot of attack values, but I don't think any of these things, like, you're ever going to be attacking with them. It has the card text. If this card is normal or special, you can target a memento card in your grave, except itself, add it to your hand. If it's sent to the grave by a memento monster's effect, you can special summon it. Oh, damn, that's so good. Okay, so I'm already putting it together. So basically, Goblin can destroy 1 to send 2. So if you go Goblin, destroy a card, send Gaddick, then Gaddick now gets to special summon itself. And because it was special summoned, you get to target, I mean, any card, but presumably like the one that you just destroyed off Goblin, and then add that to hand. Ooh, man, this is super powerful. This is a really, really, really good loop that we've already got going on here. I'm liking where this is going. All right, I'm putting the puzzle pieces together. Not going to spend a ton of time on each of these cards because there's a lot of them, but I really like what we're doing so far. Up next, we have 2 level 3s. We are going to start with Memento Anguish. Is this the level 5? No, because the original witch that I'm thinking of was level 5. This must not be it. This is a level 3 dark spellcaster with 800 and 1000, and it has the card effect. If this card is normal or special, you can add a memento monster from your deck to your hand except for itself. Then it has a field effect. You can target 1 level 2 or lower memento monster in your grave, destroy a memento monster you control. It doesn't say destroy 1 other, so you can destroy itself. And if you do, special summon the targeted monster, and then you can only use each effect once per turn. Wow, this is like banger after banger. To each card, 2 effects, and like all the effects are good. None of these require you to have the combined creation out either. Okay, yeah, so you just like special this thing, which you can do a dozen different ways, and then you get to search, and you can search the monsters with discard effects. This is crazy. And then you can pop a card to special summon from grave. Super strong. Holy cow. I'm really impressed by these so far. The art, let me pull this up. Yeah, I mean, I really like the art of this one in particular. But the effects on all these have just been banger. Okay, so the first of the level 3s is really good. Great searching, great special summoning. I don't know what more you could possibly want from an archetype than this level of like consistency and swarming. So yeah, it's perfect. Moving on, we have Memento Sleepy. Sleepy? Is it actually pronounced Sleepy? Holy cow, because it's a sheep? Is that what it is? Is this like the fusion substitute? Not fusion substitute, I can't remember. There's like a sheep in the early sets that is like a fusion monster. That's what this reminds me of. This is a level 3 Earth. Ooh, okay, they're not all dark and light. Level 3 Earth Beast. Effect monster with 800 attack and 1000 defense. And the card effect. During the turn, a monster in your possession is destroyed by card effects, which like every monster we've seen so far does. Quick effect, you can special summon this card from your hand. Nuts. If this card is normal or special summon, you can fusion summon 1 memento fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters on your hand or field. Okay. If this card is destroyed by battle or card effect, you can send 1 memento card from your deck to the grave except itself. Right. So like this is kind of like the Tindangles, right? Where they're just constantly sending stuff to grave, except they all also do things other than like like send to grave. So they send to grave, and then they also do something else that's completely busted. Why is Foolish Burial still limited? Why are we limiting Foolish Burial when every card just gets to Foolish Burial and also has a badillion like crazy effects on it? So the crazy thing about Sleepy is it just says during the turn a monster in your possession was destroyed by card effect. It's not like in response to the destruction. It's not something you have to chain. It's just like at any point in the turn while you have this thing in hand and you've destroyed a card, you get to do the fusion summon, which is just like ridiculous. And you guys will have to tell me, but does this like remember if a card has been destroyed? So if you destroy a card and then later in the turn search this thing, are you now able to do the special summon fusion summon thing? I don't know if it's like multi-faker. Yes, everything. My only frame of reference is Altergeist cards. I don't know if it's like with multi-faker where if you spoofing to get a multi-faker, the faker knows that you activated spoofing and you then defeat its effect. So I don't know if Sleepy's that way. Please let me know. This card's crazy. It's ridiculous. Up next, oh man. Up next we have the Memento Dark Blade. Look, man, this is Yu-Gi-Oh! This is peak Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't care if I don't recognize any of the rest of these guys. Dark Blade is one of the coolest cards in Yu-Gi-Oh!'s history, dude. Classic vanilla monster. I believe it even has the stat line. I don't know if Dark Blade had 1500 defense, but I know it had 1800 attack. Holy shit, what a cool visual retrain of one of the coolest normal monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh!'s history. I really like this. What the hell? This is awesome. Memento Dark Blade is a level 4 Dark Warrior, of course, searchable off Rhoda and everything else in this game deck. 1800, 1500. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can discard one Memento card, then target one spell trap your opponent controls. Destroy it. Okay, that's kind of weird. During your main phase, you can destroy one Memento monster you control, and if you do, special summon a level 3 or level Memento monster from your deck. What the hell? Oh my god, we are, I don't know if you guys saw that mix game, but we are coming through in the fourth quarter on Dark Blade. That first effect was like kind of mid. Destroy a Memento card and then special summon a level 3 or lower Memento monster from your deck. That is insane. That's crazy, because you could just go like Dark Blade, special Angwitch, and then you get to go Angwitch search a card, or you can go Gaddock in order to add from grave, like if you have something that you've already used in grave, or I'm sure, well, it's level 3 or lower, right? Yeah, so you can't do any of the ones that we haven't talked about yet, but still, holy cow, that is insane. Oh my god, like I have to move on because there's a billion of these, but I don't want to stop looking at Memento Dark Blade. This card is so sick. There's a 14-year-old boy in all of us, and the freaking flame sword, the like crystal orange and black. Oh my god, this guy is so cool. I'm gonna come back and look at this card after I'm done with this video for sure. All right, so that's level 4s. Up next, we have 2 level 5s. We have the level 5, whoa, I am not. Okay, I'm sure that you guys have some kind of nickname for this thing because there's no way that you pronounce this. Memento Tatsu Toshigo. Tatsu Toshigo? Did I actually get that? Holy cow. This is a level 5 Earth Beast, another Earth Beast. Do these things just share the attribute and typing of the original normal monster? Is that how this is working? Because I don't see much of a like consistent attribute or typing theme so far, and nothing that really plays on that theme, so I wonder if they just don't care and they're just going off of whatever the original normal monster that they're based on typing and attribute were. So yeah, this has 1350 attack and 1600 defense. For sure, that's based off the original. And the card effect. If you do not control any face-up monsters other than Memento monsters, okay, you can special summon this card from your hand. Man, what's that old MBT joke where he's talking about like one of the water monsters, and then he's like, you could special summon this by like thinking really hard about a crab. That's for sure what this is. This is like special summon this thing just because you want to. Yeah, of course, that's ridiculous. During your main phase, you can destroy one Memento monster you control and send any number of Memento monsters with different names from your deck to the grave whose total levels are less than or equal to the destroyed monster. What? That includes, you can do this on itself, right? So you could like destroy it and then send like a 3, a 1, and a 1. So you could Foolish 3, and now you've got it in grave as well. Or you can pop, like, I know there are higher level ones. You could pop one of the higher level ones and Foolish like a billion, right? This is crazy. It's special summonable by breathing. And then you get to just like pop a card which you want, and then you want to send a million cards to grave. Not to mention, like, you can, I'm gonna keep going back to this card because it's crazy, but you could send Gaddock, and then you get to just special Gaddock, and then you get to go Gaddock, and Gaddock can add back one of the other cards that you sent. Holy cow. You can go this guy, pop a card, send Gaddock and then a couple other ones, and then go Gaddock, special summon, and then add any of the other cards you sent. So this is like adding to hand and foolishing, like, but times 1,000. This card is ridiculous. This whole archetype is ridiculous. What the hell? Oh my god, what's the other level 5 do? Ooh, this is ugly. What the hell is going on with this thing? This is an ugly son of a bitch. There's no way. Why? There's so many cool original Yu-Gi-Oh monsters. They didn't have to do this guy. I don't know, not to upset any Kyrion fans in the audience. Hopefully there aren't many of you. But yeah, this is Memento Kyrion. This is a level 5 water aqua with 1,700 and 1,400. And then has the card effect. If this card is normal or special summoned, which now we're getting into like a little bit more difficulty because it's level 5 and doesn't have a special summon effect, you know, something thinking about a crab. You can activate this effect this turn. This turn, level 9 or higher Memento monsters can attack directly. That's crazy, it's free. If this card is destroyed by card effect, including like hand, you can target one of your other Memento cards that is banished or in your grave, add it to your hand. If a Memento monster in your hand or face-up field is destroyed by battle or card effect while this card is in your grave, you can special summon this card. Okay, so this is like another thing that you can send to grave, and then when you pop any other Memento monster, you get to special this guy for free from grave. And there are like more than enough ways to bin already. So I see this. You're this constant loop of destroying, special summoning, and getting all of these monsters into effect, and my fantastic human written archetype description let me know that their higher level monsters need to have that, so I'm looking forward to that. This card is good. Yeah, I mean, the first effect, again, like Darkblade, is kind of mid, but the second effect is crazy. Those are both of the level 5s. We are going to move on to Memento Horned Dragon. Okay, man, I'm gonna sound like such a schlub here. I think I know what this is based off of, but I can't visualize it in my head right now. It's been a crazy week. I passed my final on Wednesday as well, by the way, so like school is rapidly on the way out, but yeah, it's still been a crazy week. Memento Horned Dragon is a level 8 Dark Dragon effect monster with 2850 attack and 2350 defense. Oh baby, yes, I love it. I love these attack values. It's enough to make a Dinomorphia player cry. Okay, so the effect says, if you have 3 or more Memento monsters with different names in your grave, you can special summon this card from your hand. You can only special summon Memento Horned Dragon once per turn this way. Okay, yeah, you can do that like effortlessly. There are so many ways to get Memento monsters with different names in grave because they all send each other. So this thing is very easily special summonable. If this card on the field is destroyed by card effect, you can target 3 face-up cards on the field. Not up to 3, has to be 3. Including a Memento card you can control, destroy them. Okay, this is fine, right? It's easily special summonable, and then if it has to be destroyed on the field, this one can't be destroyed in the hand. And it has to be 3 face-up cards, not up to 3. So I am actually going to guess that this card is not good. This card doesn't seem to play ball with what the rest of the cards want to do. So I'm going to keep this card in mind going forward, but I don't think that Memento Horned Dragon is a very good card. Okay, holy cow, we are making really good on time, boys. We have 1 main deck monster left. This is the one. All right, just for anyone who's made it this far into the video, I'm going to do my best at actually pronouncing this thing. Mementoale Tehutikla combined creation. Mementoale Tehutikla. Oh man, Dad, I am a white man. What are we doing? This is a level 11 Earth Worm. In what sense is this a worm? How is it based off a classic monster if it's a worm? There were no worms. That's crazy. And its art is just freakish. Holy cow. 5,000 attack and 5,000 defense. That is ridiculous. There's a card that allows you to search for a monster whose attack and defense is the same, right? Like if they have the same attack and defense, you get to search it. I mean, I feel like you don't need it because this deck can search a billion ways, but if I'm not remembering incorrectly, that's up there. Cannot be normal summon set, must be special summoned from your hand or grave by shuffling 5 other Memento monsters with different names from your hand or grave into the deck or extra deck. While you control no other monsters, this card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each. Once per turn, if your opponent activates a card or effect, you can special summon a Memento monster from your hand or grave, at which point you would no longer control no other monsters, so it doesn't get to do its attack thing, but maybe that's enough. Okay, so this is like the main deck Bungus. This is the big beater in the main deck. and I know they have 2 extra deck monsters. Most of the time, these cards are kind of bricky, they're kind of bulky, they're not really easy to get out. It doesn't really have a lot of protection, it just like swings and hits really hard, and you're shuffling memento monsters with different names back into the deck, and you kind of want them to be in the grave. However, 5k is a lot of attack, and it's actually pretty easily summonable just based off everything I've seen with this deck. So I'm gonna guess that this sees play. This is a 1-of for sure. You play this at 1 in the deck. You have to, right? Because this is just like an OTK out of nowhere. This is like Palladium Oracle Mahad, right? Like you're in a deep end game. Neither you or your opponent have anything. Your graveyard is full. You top deck this guy and you just murder your opponent. Is that correct? That is my guess. Okay, that is it for the main deck monsters. Wow, what a lineup. Some real knockout stars in here. Darkblade is ridiculous. Gaddock is crazy. Angwitch is like ludicrous. All these monsters are just insane. I actually really like this archetype. I'm kind of glad that it won. Goaty fans, you know, Tindangle had their day, so will you. But I'm kind of glad that we're reading this. Moving on to, we have 2 extra deck monsters. We're going to start with the lower level one. We have Memento Twin Dragon. Okay, this is based off the Thunder Dragon one, right? There's a old fusion monster that's like Thunder Twin Dragon or something like that? I think that's the one that this is based off of. This is a level 7 light Thunder fusion with 2800 attack, 2100 defense, requires 2 memento monsters. Crazy. Any monster destroyed by battle with your memento monster is banished. Okay, so it's like a walking macro, but kind of differently. You can only use each of the following effects of Memento Twin Dragon once per turn. If this card is fusion summoned, you can destroy 1 memento monster in your hand or face-up field, and if you do, add up to 2 memento monsters with different names from your deck to your hand. Ridiculous. If this fusion summoned card is destroyed, you can special summon a level 6 memento monster from your graveyard. It extends and then floats into more extension. You're destroying a memento card from your hand, which then lets you search 2 more. You've already destroyed a monster by card effect, so Sleepy is going nuts. Assuming that you didn't summon this guy with Sleepy. No, this is ridiculous. It fills your grave, it pluses you. It's just like destroy 1, search 2. I kind of like this. A lot of archetypes nowadays are kind of forcing you to go card neutral. This is like, no, you can plot a 3. If you want to, you can search 2 at the cost of 1. This is nuts, and it floats. The banish effect is just like a nice plus. Like it's very clearly not factored into the power economy on this card at all. It's just like a total bonus. I like effects like that, where they've got like little bonus effects that clearly the card would have been good without, but they just like throw it in for no reason. The summoning requirements are super easy. For 2 monsters, this is a nuts card. Moving on, the final monster of the Memento archetype, at least for now. I'm not updating this if more comes out. That's not the point of these videos. Memento Tamiktaklan Tehutla. Jeez. Creation King. This is just Kel'Thuzad, right? Isn't he just Kel'Thuzad? I know a Kel'Thuzad when I've seen one. This is a level 9 Earth. Holy cow, you could have fooled me. I would have, if I had bet my life on this, I would not have guessed Earth Illusion Fusion. That's a nice little chain of words. With 3000 attack, 2000 defense, requires 3 memento monsters, and then has the effect, you can banish this card from your grave, add 1 of the big guy from your deck to your hand. You cannot activate the following effects of Creation King in the same chain. If this card is fusion summoned, you can send 3 memento cards from your deck or extra deck to the grave. Crazy. Quick effect, you can target an equal number of memento monsters you control and cards your opponent controls, destroy them. And then you can only use each once per turn. Okay, this one's going to take a little bit of thinking about. So it has a graveyard banish effect. I don't believe I've seen a way to send from extra deck in this archetype so far, so I don't think you can just like bin this guy and then banish him to search. But he's in grave, you can then banish him and you can search the big guy. So I told you play the big guy at 1. You guys didn't believe me. And then you can't activate these effects in the same chain. If it's fusion summoned, you can send 3 memento cards from your deck or extra deck to the grave. I guess you can send itself off of that effect, and then you can send a bunch of cards from the main deck. Crazy. Quick effect, target an equal number of memento cards, so you like target 2, pop 2 as a quick effect destruction. Yeah, this card's good. This card's really, really good. 3k, it's got a huge body, it pops, it sends to grave, which in this deck is the same as searching and special summoning, so it just pluses you by sending to grave. This card is ridiculous. What a really good final boss monster. I don't know why they chose to go spooky in the end. Like, I feel like there was another visual design way that they could have gone other than spooky, but I mean, I guess I'm here for it. Holy cow. Those are some monsters, man. That was a ridiculous monster lineup. I gotta admit, I'm impressed by basically all of them. Horned Dragon Dragon was like kind of okay. And then the main deck monster, the Combined Creation, was kind of underwhelming, but I'm sure you still play it because you can search it and it just like OTKs your opponent. Moving on to the spells, we are going to start with the field spell. I'm going to give this one good try. Memento Mictlan. That's my attempt. So this is a field spell that says if your Memento monster battles, your opponent cannot activate any spell trap cards until the end of the damage step. Okay, I was gonna say, how does the big thing that attacks a billion times not just get mirror forced? I was gonna be like, is it an Armades? Why isn't it an Armades? But I held that in, and I'm so glad because the field spell just turns them into Ancient Gear Golems, turns them into Armades. If a monster you control is destroyed by battle or card effect, crazy, you can target one of those monsters, special summon a Memento monster with a lower level from hand or grave. You can only use this effect once per turn. Once per turn during your end phase, target one Memento spell trap in your grave, set it. Oh my god. They just keep saying things. You're like, you read an effect and you're like, oh yeah, that's really good. Then they just say another effect and you're like, wow, that's crazy. And then that little bit at the end, once per turn during your end phase, you can target one Memento spell trap in your grave, set it. It's almost kind of innocuous. It's almost like they don't even want you to notice it. They're like, yeah, I mean, you can just set a Memento spell trap in your grave. That's a big effect. That's a crazy effect. And they just like throw it in at the end like it's nothing. This field spell is nuts. This is really good. Memento Fusion. This looks like the Gem Fusion, right? The Gem Knights Fusion? That's what that looks like to me. This is a quick effect, so you can use it on your opponent's turn. During the main phase, Fusion summon one Fusion monster from the extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as material, including a Memento monster. Okay. If a monster in your possession was destroyed by card effect this turn, you can also shuffle Memento monsters from your graveyard into the deck as material. Crazy. So you just plus from the grave. During your main phase, you can banish this card from your grave, destroy one monster you control, and if you do, add a Memento spell trap from deck. Oh my god, it's hard to even wrap your head around. It's like every card does everything. So it's quick effect, so you can use it as interruption on your opponent's turn. If a card was destroyed, you get to use material from grave, so it just pluses you. I know you want the material in grave, but like one of the reasons you want the material in grave is for cards like this, so that the card can do what it wants to do. And then it just allows you to banish and then destroy a monster, which you want, and then add a spell trap, which you want even more. This card is ridiculous. Holy cow. We've got two more. Hopefully these can give me a break from just like praising this freaking deck because it's insane. Memento Bone Party. This is a quick play spell, and what is that? That's Goblin and Mace. Or Goblin and Mace are the ones having a party. This is a quick play spell that says destroy one Memento monster in your hand or field. Take a Memento monster from your deck with a different name, either add it to your hand or special summon in defense position. It just never stops. During your main phase, you can banish this card from your grave, target a Memento monster you control, and if it attacks a defense position monster this turn, inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. You can only use each effect once per turn. Yeah, I mean, the thing that just blows my mind about this deck is that all of the cards just have these little bonus effects. It doesn't need to banish itself from grave to target a Memento monster and give it piercing. It doesn't need to do that. It just chooses to on top of everything else it does. It's just gravy, dude. The whole deck is gravy. This is a giant gravy boat, and it's just pouring all over the mashed potatoes. Yeah, this is nuts. You just pop one in order to either add or special summon, which like you want to do. There's no level restriction on the Memento monster either. It just has to have a different name. So unless I'm incorrect, you could go, so you can't go into Combined Creation, but you can go into like Horn Dragon off of it. Or any of the level 5s, which can otherwise like be a little bit difficult. This is nuts. All right, last spell. This is Memento Bone Back. And so we have the Tushinogo or whatever. This is another quick play. It says, if a face-up Memento monster you control leaves the field because of an opponent's card, thank God, at least for one of these cards, it says by your opponent. Special summon one Combined Creation from your hand or deck. Ignoring its summoning conditions, why not? If your opponent moves a Memento monster out of your grave while this card is in your grave, you can banish this card, special summon as many Memento monsters as possible with different names from your hand or deck. Are you kidding me? I'm actually angry. Are you kidding me? What is this card? So I'm sure that Memento players are going to be like, well, it's not good.
Free Ash Blossoms, baby.
Opponent doing something. The payoff is ridiculous. If a Memento monster you control leaves the field because of an opponent's card, just special summon your big idiot ignoring its summoning condition. Ridiculous. And then if they banish or just like move, I guess it's kind of tough, but like let's say they bestial your Anguish, right? They bestial your Anguish, and then you can banish it and then just flood your board with as many different names as possible. this card seems fake. This card seems ridiculous. This is what I would tell my younger sister the card did when I was 7 years old and I was trying to beat her. This would be like, no, you got rid of my monster. I get to special summon as many monsters as I want from my deck. I get to do it from my deck. That is insane. Like, as someone who is impressed by high ceiling cards, this is like the highest ceiling card I think I've ever read. This is like the ultimate punish. Holy cow. Okay, we have 2 cards left and they're traps. And knowing this archetype, they're probably going to be like searchable solemn judgments. Memento Cranium Burst. This is a continuous trap that says while you control a memento monster, your opponent's monsters that can attack must attack the memento monster you control with the highest attack. Their choice of tied. Sure, when your opponent activates a monster effect on the field, you can target one combined creation you control. It loses 1,000 attack and defense, and if you do, negate the activated effect. You can only activate it once per chain. Guys, you can only activate it once per chain. You can only, it's Apollosa. It turns your combined creation into Apollosa because you can just go lose 1,000, negate, except it starts out at 5k attack instead of normally starting out at like 24 or whatever Apo would start at. Apo, bannable because it's generic. This is like the opposite of generic, but it's still crazy. This is like multiple times per turn negate, and it's like battle protection. Okay, sure. This is ridiculous. Last card in the whole damn deck. Memento Fracture Dance. This is a regular trap. It says if you control a memento monster, target one card on the field, destroy it. Then if you control a memento combined creation, destroy one more card on the field. When an attack is declared involving your memento monster and an opponent's monster, banish this card from your grave. All monsters your opponent currently controls lose 1,000 attack until the end of the turn. This card is okay. Thank God. It's just okay. It pops. If you have the big guy, it pops another one. And then it has the graveyard banish to like make your monsters a little bit more difficult to run over by battle. But I'm sure that people forget about that second effect because it's in grave. You don't
Alright, I'm going
it. They go
first.
to crash, and then you just banish it, reduce their attack. It's like in the damage calc, so they don't get to redeclare, and then they just like lose their monsters. I'm sure I've probably lost to this card at some point. This seems like a card that I would lose to. Holy cow. Okay, well, I mean, if you guys made it into this incredibly long video, then I gotta tell you, I'm not like frustrated at the deck. I'm just impressed. I'm just blown away by how much this deck can do. All of the cards just seem super saturated in power economy. Like they took a card that they would normally give an archetype and they were like, let's give it a little zhuzh. Let's give it like a little extra something that it gets that no other card gets. And I don't know that I've read a card. I think this is why, even though I've dueled against them, I've never actually read them. I don't think I've read cards with this much card text on them. Each card does 3 things. I mean, not all of them, but most of them do like 3 things. I think this deck is insane. I think this deck is crazy. It works super nicely together. The only thing I would, if I had to guess, this is my guess, I would imagine that this deck is not super popular because it's so big. I imagine you don't get to play a lot of non-engine. And that is really relevant in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Is like, how much non-engine do you get to play? And this wants to play with itself so much that I don't know how nicely it actually does play. I know that the wonderful description that we read said it wants to like be played with light sworns and zombies and stuff like that. I don't know how much I believe that. I am relying on you guys to tell me that because this seems like it doesn't have a lot of room for non-engine in the deck. You guys, please let me know. This is the craziest archetype that we've read so far. Holy cow. Hopefully next week we can enjoy the losers bracket. Don't forget, next week is the losers bracket. It's going to be all of the eliminated archetypes that have been booted out so far. So if your favorite archetype got kicked out, then we have another opportunity to do this. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that your Saturday goes wonderful. Remember to like, comment, subscribe if you guys enjoyed the video. Keep an eye out for more, and remember to wash behind your ears.
I don't think thrust was a good idea. Whoops. I don't like how small this pure Drytron deck is. Not enough room for me to put in all the cards that I want during side. Which I get isn't actually a flaw, like at all.
Today, I'm going to tell you the story of the 1,000-Year Door. An awfully long time ago, a beloved game developer released a console that smiled
Also,
through its
full
pain.
combo Mitsurugi just does a little too much.
It was a system that struggled to pick up sales, but it was said that those who held it treasured it forever. And then one day, a new game was delivered upon them. A refined title starring a humble plumber of legend appeared. It was bold and strange, a departure in identity from what came before. It was as if the very world its prequel established was destroyed. And with but a single game, what the plumber meant to so many had changed forever. These fans were enraptured. There was nothing quite like it. Though small, that number carried this story close to their hearts. This was the defining world of the plumber for them. They eagerly awaited what could possibly be next. Years passed. Games would continue to come out, but they never fully satisfied what lay in fans' hearts. And those who did love what was new were treated with hostility. Indeed, this is the tale of the beloved, divisive Paper Mario series. Yes, it's a tale of treasured memories from a time long since past. A tale of a team wishing to leave more than they could possibly fit in one game. The stories that make up the 1,000-Year Door start here.
This reminds me a little too much of Malice.
Paper Mario: The 1,000-Year Door is a game whose reputation precedes it. Well regarded in its time, though not quite held up as one of the GameCube's all-timers by the gaming press compared to some more mature offerings. TTYD has since come to be one of the most championed games by those who grew up with it. Its writing, combat, world, and characters have been held on high as the pinnacle of the Paper Mario series. Potentially to the chagrin of anyone who just wants to talk about Paper Mario without getting into a debate on if the series ever lived up to TTYD's example ever again. Paper Mario has been something of an identity crisis series all of its life, changing in battle system and tone and perspective so often that no one really knows what makes a good Paper Mario. Just which one is their favorite and how to violently defend it. But even among all those who adore Super Paper Mario, who hail the Origami King, who really like all the entries except maybe that loser, who actually played Paper Jam, the second entry in the series is normally the one that people go back to talking about the most, for all of its various faults and strengths. And I think there's good reason for that. While all of the Mario RPGs capitalize on various aspects like timing-focused combat, witty humor, occasional surrealist elements, and more, TTYD is the game that most carefully hones in on one specific element that the entire game emerges from. Not necessarily a gameplay function. The Mario and Luigi games and Origami King commit to their combat systems far more stringently than their mostly older brother, but in what everything is built around thematically instead. And this emotional core is a powerful one, incredibly resonant to those who experienced it in their youths, and appreciable practically without age to this day. Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door is, with earnestness and love, Nintendo's great storyteller. Before we dive into TTYD, some set dressing for the games that came before. The Mario series has always been a super imaginative fantasy, a wonderland of various locales strung together through obstacle courses for the titular platformer to parkour through with a sense of whimsy. Or, to be less pretentious, it's a bunch of fun-looking blocks for the cartoon man to jump around in. However, assigning place and purpose to these locations is a bit trickier of a task. We had rough maps for Grassland, the Pipe Maze, heck, we had a whole Super Mario World mapped out. But a lot of these were video game levels primarily, and contributors to the feel of the Mushroom Planet second. Outside of Yoshi's Island and one specific castle, visualizing exactly what the Mushroom Kingdom was, and what Mario was fighting for other than a couple of toads and the princess, proved difficult. Or at least had a lot less of a sense of place than contemporaries like Angel Island or Crocodile Isle. This is what
Why do I keep
Super
drawing all
Mario
3 hash
RPG
blossoms?
rectified, giving Mario a living, breathing world to explore. Towns filled with mushroom citizens, areas where indigenous species like the moles and Nimbians have learned to thrive. Booster!
Who the heck is Booster? Who knows?
But this game was still something of a linear adventure, one solid loop from World 1 to World 8. Something that its eventual follow-up, Paper Mario, was more than glad to rectify. Paper Mario took common Mario plot elements, enemies, and trappings and set out to create a more fleshed-out world based on them. As the Japanese title implies, a Mario story. Mario would scour the far reaches of an interconnected map, solving problems, finishing side quests, delving into dungeons, remixing his old backdrops like Mario World Boo Houses or Mario 3 Fortresses. And through it, he would meet new allies, new rivals, new mythical beings to set up the lore of his world,
New enemies with funky attack!
and cement his dynamic not just with Peach and Bowser, but with his universe at large. Through these adventures, what it meant to be Mario became crystal clear. He's a living legend in his own world. Everyone's heard the tale of Mario's incredible bravery and jumping ability. Everyone knows that Mario can solve basically any problem he puts his boots to. And because Mario is there, everyone, from Toad children to wise old gurus, to regional nobility, to those looking over his world in the heavens above, can have faith that with a hop, skip, and a jump, everything will turn out all right. So what if we take that all away?
Is that the noose?
Mario is a nobody in the Thousand-Year Door. He's ventured to the far-off town of Rogueport, where only a few legends of the humble hero who battles the ferocious Koopa King have reached the ears of the youth. Instead of the cheerful Toads and Koopas that would be happy to give a neighborly greeting to Mario, he's surrounded by thieves, criminals, a mafia syndicate, this Goomba who keeps falling for credit card fraud. What do you mean by this, sir? Mario gets mugged by a pickpocket while idly exploring town, threatened to be 86'd casually by local gangs, smooched by far more forward girls than he's used to all throughout the game, is cursed for just trying to help out some dude trapped in a box. The incredulous but positive tone of the Mushroom Kingdom is obliterated with the blunt, almost mundane criminality of the seedy rogue port. And Mario gets treated like any average sucker on the streets without any of his heroic background propping him up. The only things that persist through Mario's adventure are that he has to collect 7 magic stars, Bowser occasionally popping up through a sheer refusal to get left behind, and Mario himself. And Mario is all that Mario needs to make for an unforgettable adventure. Even if you strip away Mario's reputation, respect, how the world around him is supposed to react to him, it doesn't matter. His jumping prowess, bravery, and the knack he has to get those around him to believe in him is still there, and proves its worth time and time again at getting him out of tricky situations. It's not long before he manages to win over a young Goomba with his simple kindness in protecting her from a weird cult, which leads Mario to helping out, well, a ton of other people. Even if the world itself is darker and more antagonistic, the place Mario leaves others in remains the same. Better than where they started and believing in themselves just that much more. But instead of, "Oh no, a shy guy stole my dictionary," Mario is helping the daughter of a local mafia don elope with her true love without him sleeping with the nibbles. Or helping a girl accept herself after relentless verbal abuse from her older sister. Or everything that has to do with Admiral Bobbery. And this game is very aware that instead of some young, noble JRPG protagonist helping these people become better versions of themselves, it's super freaking Mario. Hello! There is some inherent and intended silliness in this cartoon character listening to this Koopa Troopa talk about how his success has robbed him of all motivation, and so he never leaves his bed because of the futility of enjoying existence. But Mario's been made a strong enough character through his previous adventures that he's believable in this role. Mario is such a strong everyman, praised to be able to do anything, fit any role that he needs to. And so, the Thousand Year Door is glad to test and push that as much as possible by taking the Mario story and applying it to as many other tales as possible. Each of the first 7 chapters of TTYD represents a different form of genre fiction, and each and every one approaches it with the challenge of, okay, what if we made Mario the protagonist? From the incredibly obvious and classic castle and dragon setup of the first chapter, to the point of that even being the chapter's name, to the more obtuse gladiator pit and sports story by way of professional wrestling, TTYD is almost gleeful to throw Mario into story setups that he is woefully out of place in. But every single one of these remains a very sincere homage to its genre. Mario doesn't just bop a dragon, he scours the dragon's lair for its one weakness, learning from those who fell to its traps before in order to slay the beast. Mario has to scrounge for supplies and rally a crew that's rapidly falling apart with his presence and kindness when stranded on a desert island in his Treasure Island setup. The whole game warps around Mario serving as a detective, eschewing combat entirely in favor of simple investigation in an intensely clear tribute to Murder on the Orient Express. Again and again, scenario after scenario, Mario is a stranger wandering into mysteries, perils, and plots. And every time, he meets the story on its own level and solves it with a few jumps and a good attitude. And as players progress through these various stories, it's incredibly easy to grow attached. Maybe they didn't know they loved wrestling, but the over-the-top showmanship of the Glitzpit chapter was able to win them over, while also playing up the gritty underbelly of the business in a more fantastical way. Maybe Dupless riffing on classic fairy tales and losing parts of yourself to a fey prankster enraptured your imagination. Maybe the retro sci-fi aesthetics of the Crossknot Fortress made the homage to space race age fiction seem rad as hell. Through being this unifying force that's able to come out on top in every scenario, Mario can bridge all of these stories. Classic fantasy, tournament drama, dark fairy tale, swashbuckling adventure, aristocratic mystery, Silver Age sci-fi, and... Okay, I think this is Battle Revolution, but it only really works out that way from this one line of dialogue from the shopkeeper calling Mario a uniter to both sides. So, Tree, and use a good sense of humor and his endless heroism to share a love of these stories to all of his players in a comfortable way. And to so many, this style of adaptation, of bringing Mario's spirit to these genres to celebrate and parody them for all they're worth, has never been topped. But this is just the start of Paper Mario's love of storytelling. It's gotta get every bit it can to squeeze out of its characters, too. As per usual with RPGs, the game loves to delve into character backstories, personal tales that allow a character's whole self to be laid bare and grow from their interactions with others. And it actually does a fabulous job of it. Be it Koops evolving from a crybaby who leaps into danger more because he feels useless than anything and just wants to give his life meaning, to a guy willing to stand with Mario against horrible dangers and admits that he thinks he likes himself a little, to Tech Double Cross, a computer tasked with keeping Princess Peach captive, dealing with feelings of love from the princess's presence that he agonizes over his failure to properly process, to Bobbery, an old sailor willing to waste away in penance for being at sea whilst his wife passed away from illness without his knowing, overcoming his deep loss so that he can feel joy again before he joins her in the afterlife. The themes that TTYD is willing to tackle are a bit of a step up in emotional complexity than what earlier adventures had described to Mario. But the game doesn't just limit this to major party members or highly story-important characters. Take, for instance, Flavio. This silly muppet of a man you meet very early on. A real eye-catching weirdo of an NPC singing in the corner about how overwhelmingly wealthy he is. And that's about it until you realize, hey, I could use a ship to get to an island, and this rich boat-owning 20-something is looking for something to do with his life to feel important. Like most 20-somethings, but with money and a boat.
I'm getting too much money.
Flavio is immediately won over by Mario's charisma, which he also helpfully attributes to himself, and is pretty much what you'd expect of a character who looks like this. He's a massive braggart, looks to others to solve problems for him, and tries to withhold wine, vintage cola, from a dying man because he wants the romantic experience of scrounging a desert island and couldn't possibly part with it until you give him a nice coconut in these trying times. But through all these airs he puts on, Flavio documents his journey in a journal, with all of the daring do of the adventurer he wants to be, with the bravado one would expect out of an adventure novel protagonist. But he's not that. And after everyone on his crew constantly reinforces it, even Flavio recognizes this. And despite all that, when push comes to shove and his crew is under a cannon barrage, death inevitable, Mario unable to save the day immediately, it's Flavio who steps up, saying that as a leader, it's his responsibility to find a solution. And he manages to negotiate a deal with a 1,000-year-old ghostly ghost pirate to save the day and put a lot of sprites on screen to make Miyamoto pop off. Due to his sudden bravery and desire to pursue his thrilling, romantic dream, Flavio manages to save everyone, gives Mario a taxi service back to the island whenever he feels like it, and becomes that brave adventurer that he portrays himself as. And And though now he is merely the second richest man in town, as this whole expedition was a financial disaster, he's okay with that. For he's found something far more enriching than doubloons. A story. He reached the pinnacle of his tale, and at its zenith shouted, "Flavio!" to the wind. This is a totally inconsequential NPC, effectively an annoying obstacle to serve as a taxi from one place to another. Matters about as much as Mido, or like one of the teachers you don't social link with in Persona. But Paper Mario sees fit to not just give Flavio a story, but to properly tie it in with the feeling of the tale he's tributing. And it's not just limited to Flavio either. Jolene, Punio, Goldbob, Don Pianta, all minor characters who get their own arcs, their own little development, to complement the story Mario wants to tell. But this is just like basic writing, right? Plenty of RPGs have minor characters that complement the stories of the regions that you enjoy and then move on from. Some of them even becoming favorites. It's nice to see Mario doing it, but it's gonna take more than that to impress me. After each chapter, Mario can bump into his brother hanging out around Rogueport, revealing that Luigi's been having his own adventure right off screen. And of course, he's glad to share his exploits with you in a long-winded oral spiel that isn't just amusing, but furthers Luigi's character. He's just so happy to embellish the truth a little bit to prove that, yeah, he's brave and cool and competent and is going to have a princess fawning over him just like you, bro. He even has his own partners next to him to parallel your quest. Only they're far more likely to tell you how badly Luigi's messed up this whole thing so far and give a more balanced account. But that's not all. Luigi's exploits become so well known due to his braggadocious nature here that he's managed to secure a book deal, letting the player reread the Paper Luigi story to get a more dramatized, but somehow more accurate account. Propping Luigi up with the courage of a YA novel protagonist, throwing some shade at Mario, and even including details that Luigi himself wouldn't dare recount to you. Luigi's knack for storytelling, established earlier in the first Paper Mario with his diary, is actively making him a bigger star in Rogueport than the silent and humble Mario. And this isn't just limited to Luigi. There's also Lumpy, this random rat dude who you can throw money at to go drilling for oil. Now I know that sounds bad, but once he's returned, he'll share with you the journal of his expedition. It even furthers lore and characterization from the first Paper Mario. Chapter 2 characters Colorado and Moustafa appearing and being further fleshed out through the eyes of a dramatist. Oral tradition is preserved through the rooftop minstrel, Grifty, who will let you pay him to get lore on the very game you're playing, revealing background details on all of those curse chests you've encountered, and even the Thousand-Year Door itself. You can slink into this cage and talk to this Playboy Bunny Boo, who'll tell you all about her life, likes, interests, whatever, as long as you keep getting high scores in casino games. This family is falling apart with a struggling writer father, a shut-in child, a gambling-addicted absentee mother, and a kid who never comes home. At every chapter, they slowly realize that maybe they need to band together and enjoy each other instead of drifting further away and resenting each other. These crows talk about climate change and update their conversation through the game. These are completely meaningless events. Only Lumpy leads to any actually particularly tangible rewards, and reading his story doesn't get you anything. TTYD can only share what it truly values with the player as its own reward. A love for storytelling. Between oral tradition, the written word, dramatic first-hand accounts, or just the day-to-day living of the residents of Rogueport, every type of storytelling is celebrated as much as it can be, there for the player to seek it out only if they want to. Heck, combat in the game itself is presented as a stage play. Mario's entire adventure captured as one big story for the residents of the world to enjoy. And for you two as well. Dialogue, writing, world building, that's its own reward in Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. There are traditional side quests, Mario fulfilling his duty to help as many people as possible by answering a message board, but most of these really suck, and the practical rewards are rarely worth the time wasted going through them. The reason to spend more time in Rogueport with Mario and Goombella and Koops and Flavio and Grifty and all the others is because it's a world that wants to share its stories with you. Right down to Goombella having something to say in every screen of the game and about every single NPC. This game wants you to fall in love with all of the stories it cares to
I
share.
appear to have been unable to get the trap
I
card.
think it ends up doing that beautifully by telling its own. The final chapter of The Thousand-Year Door, aptly titled is a simple payoff to every major plotline of the game. All of the stories that the player could have learned from Grifty come to pass, meeting another giant dragon. All of the old legends proving themselves true. The main plot coming to a climax with Mario fighting this nerdy cult leader. Bowser finishes his quest of desperately trying to become plot relevant by literally crashing into the penultimate boss fight so he can beat up Mario. Everything comes to a head. And finally, Mario seems to meet a story that he can't live up to. The final boss of Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door is a demon, a being of destruction, far greater than any foe Mario has faced before, beyond his comprehension to defeat. The Shadow Queen is an utterly otherworldly force, tonally, visually, and presentationally wrong to fit in Mario's world. While all other characters have had some sort of comedic styling to fit in with the Paper Mario universe, the Mistress of Darkness is a pure, corruptive devil. Not a sense of humor or wit, merely the confident inevitability that no matter how great her unassuming foe may be, he will bow before her and perish. Against a story he's unsuited to play the hero in, Mario will die. But Mario's been taking on tales far past his pay grade for days on end. And through his bravery, those 7 stars he collects every game react, sent all over the world to all of those people Mario helped. Each story that he helped finish coming back to tie into the finale. From professional wrestlers to a Russian Babam army, from a bunch of poor, lonely goth villagers to the fabulously wealthy, from his brother to Nukes, Mario has united all sorts of voices, all personalities all around the world. People from all walks of life have reason to believe in Mario, believe in his friends, believe that he can overcome the end of all things. He's cared enough to give them hope, so they'll keep giving their hope right back to him. And through this power, through everyone believing in him, he finds the strength to wound the demon. As he gains ground, an audience once devoured by shadows pours in, unafraid of the impending end of the world, knowing that Mario will see this one through just like everything else. No matter how unfitting and simple he may seem, characters, audience members, players, they don't just believe Mario will win. They are invested in him, invested in this world, invested in seeing the end of this story. And in the face of all of that, Mario can't help but deliver. What else is a hero for? that is the heart of Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door to me. There is no definitive best part of this game. Sure, Chapter 3 usually gets tossed around as really good, but the repetitive nature of battling through a tournament arc might not be everybody's cup of tea. Maybe the setup of Chapter 4 and all of the cool Doppelganger and Rumpelstiltskin homages are more than enough to let you forgive one or two too many backtracking trips through this annoying forest. Maybe Chapter 6's cute train mysteries are too simplistic for you and pretty dull. Or they could be the most fun things in the whole game. What is important is that some part of TTYD is incredibly resonant to most people. And a genuine love for Mario lets him introduce and share so many different styles, genres, and colors of storytelling to so many others. It opens up Mario's world tremendously, making his Wonderland a place where truly anything can take place, from the mundane to the extraordinary. And the future yarns that can be spun are seemingly innumerable. TTYD isn't just filled with ideas and celebrations. It's teeming with possibilities of what future titles could bring, of what new things Mario could introduce, of maybe revisiting these stories down the line and seeing how they've developed in the years since. And that's why I feel the series has become so contentious as it's moved away from this promise. Future Paper Mario titles still have wonderful moments. I struggle to call any of them bad games. Okay, yeah, this one is pretty boring to me, but the others are cool, if not great. But they continue to tell wonderful character stories that can absolutely enrich a world around them, or add more perspective to the Mario universe that was either missing before or is refreshing to see explored further. There are individual tales here that can still resonate to a life-changing degree to players. Leave them Mario fans and fans of these games specifically forever. But man, did TTYD cast an incredibly wide net and commit to it hard. Other Paper Mario games have focused greatly on trying to remix the series' battle system, or how to interact with a truly paper world to emphasize a sense of style and visual identity. And look, I love TTYD's battle system as much as anybody, except for this random fog of war that I hate. I think it's really fun to break in half. I love what other games have done to capitalize on it and let it shine. But it isn't why I come back to Paper Mario. Not all these years later. I come back for Mario, and Peach, and Bowser, and Bow, and Bobbery, and Bleck, and Tippy, and Rockhawk. I come back for Paper Luigi. I come back for Toad Town, and Rogueport, and Fort Francis. I come back because I love these characters. I love this world. I love these games. I love these stories. And I doubt I'm alone. Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door is a sincere love letter to all forms of stories. And as such, fans of any of those kinds of tales, or those first introduced to them through TTYD's telling, tend to love the game in turn. It's a nostalgic gold mine of a game. So easy to remember, recall, retell, and share with others. Hopefully even more given an actually accessible remaster. And no matter where the series or Mario as a whole may go in the future, I'm happy with the collection of tales we got, and hope that someone will continue to spread the feelings they brought out to more in the future. That, like the game itself, is how you design for storytelling. Flavio!